If you had the chance to communicate one general idea to the American public, what would it be?
I guess it would be understanding and communication between the different age brackets, which is no such thing about age brackets anyway, not in my mind. Because a person's not actually old in numbers of years, but how many miles he's traveled, how he keeps his mind active and creative.
What do you feel has been your contribution to social change and the attitudes of young people that have been attributed to your music? Now, this is you personally.
It's just they're trying to find their own identification through us sometimes, which is not bad because we don't preach violence or aggression. This is a very good thing to have around. It's better than politics, They look up to us sometimes quicker than they will look up to what the president says, There's so many things that people just get misunderstood. We're trying to get across communication with the old and young, and I think some of them are finally understanding that part of it. And plus we try to get across laziness on anybody's part, regardless if they're old and young. And that takes a few more songs and a few more gigs to get that across really strong enough. Because I used to see a lot of people just sit around, get stoned, and not really, all they do is protest and not really try to do anything about it, I said, well, listen, you could be a dishwasher until you finally get yourself together. They said, yeah, but, and all this. They don't want to know about that, so I know where the trouble is.
The lyrics to real rock music is nothing more than satanic cyanide. Get it out of your house, throw it out, and
there's a lot of elderly people want to know about what's happening in the new music today, too. They want to know why people play so loud, and they want to know this and want to know that. What's the best thing for them to do is come and hear certain groups. There's only certain groups that are trying to get across a harmony message anyway. And we're one of them. I experience different things. I go through the hang-up myself. And then what I find out, I write to other people because it has nothing to do with aggression or nothing like that anyway. Because that's just nothing but taking 2 steps back, And the other people have to realize this too, or else they're going to be fighting for the rest of their lives. I was glad I was a high school dropout for the simple fact that I think kids starting from kindergarten every 2 years should have a big annual big test, about 20 pieces of paper doing exactly what they want to do in that paper and saying what they want to say. And they should have people, the teachers that don't want to teach for the rest of their lives, they progress too into other things. And then a kid could go to school when he's 11 years old. I mean, he can go to college or a special school by the time he's 11.
They do have
them. They should have them all over the place. That's one thing about the old generation. They always go in between. That's a hang-up. That's a drag. For the benefit of even the teachers that get tired of this teaching the second grade for the rest of their lives, for instance, they could progress just like kids do. You always have to have that release period, that other side of you, the creative side, regardless of what your gig might be. And pretty soon, your job's going to start to be, not play, but it's going to start to be more enjoyable too. And therefore, in the rest of, they have to think in a higher range of thinking. A lot of young people are. Because a lot of these old people, all they're trying to do, they want to make themselves old. So they tie up their brains like this, And then in the process, they try to build their own heavens. They want to be written down in war history. They want to be written down in money history, all these things. And those things are nothing but jokes. The next few years, they're going to all be jokes. And those people are going to be jokes.
When you're before a large audience and start to play, how do you feel inside? What sensations do you feel, if any?
I really feel like turning people on, quite naturally, without superficial cloud or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. And if they don't respond, well, then I'll just play it for myself. But if there's no response at all, it doesn't bother me too much at all. It just makes me play a little more music, See, that's just the way I think. I think in no negative terms at all, because it takes up a whole lot of space in your mind. And some people only use 1/10 of their brain capacity anyway. And so, there's so much more room to think other good ways, and try to turn them on regardless. And for the ones that will listen, if they do respond, well, then this gives me more energy to work out, It's another way of communication and trying to make harmony amongst the people enjoying what we're trying to get across, Harmony is part of the first one too, anyway. Part of my life, it's just a part of me, music itself. The effect I like to have for it on audience is maybe in a hypnotic state, if not a awakening state, you know. So therefore, that's why we don't preach necessarily violence unless it's a certain incident in a song. It should have some kind of solution, you know, at the end. Because it's almost all philosophy. Our music is, most of it is. There's a lot of groups that are trying to keep harmony amongst people. So they either give them good time music or loud music so they can release their frustrations and so forth. Standing right next, you know, like black and white standing next to each other with hammers, getting ready to hit each other. And this music has a way, it's a universal language anyway. And if it was respected properly, it would have a way to reach these people at the same time.
The Jimi Hendrix experience is over.
Rock musicians think different than other people, they live different than other people, so therefore they have different releases than other people. It's up to them themselves not to make it to escape, and some of this is seeped in through there. It's because like everybody wants to be their own identification in some way, form, you know. And some people couldn't find this in trying to talk to the parents or the so-called other generation, you know, because they have a way of overprotecting their people so much as where they put them in boxes, you know, and they put themselves in boxes, and that's not a right way of living, because younger people, their minds are a little more keener and they can figure this out. So therefore, since they can't get release and respect from the older people, then they go into these other things, and then music gets louder and it gets rebellious because it's starting to form a religion, you know, because you're not going to find it in church. A lot of kids, you know, don't find nothing in church. I remember when I got thrown out of church because I had the improper clothes on. I had tennis shoes and a suit. And they said, well, that's not proper. So we don't have no money to get anything else. So I just got thrown out of church anyway. And it's nothing but an institution. So they're not going to find nothing there. And so then it moves on to trying to find yourself, you know. So therefore you see somebody look maybe kind of freaky or playing very radical, regardless if it's good or bad. And then quite naturally they take up to this person or these people. It's up to the people to preach the proper thing to them through the music.
Okay, what do you think the sound of the future will be then?
But it's always changing according to the attitude of the people, you know. When the air is static, loud, and aggressive, that's how the music gets. When the air starts getting peaceful and harmonic and so forth, that's how the music will get. So it's up to the people how it's going to be. But music is going to be here regardless if it's rock or whatever, you know. It's going to influence a whole lot of people's minds now because, like I said before, that's part of their church now.
Since many authorities feel that the Sunset Strip to be, or has been, one of the prime innovators of the present reaction of youth against the establishment, what is your attitude toward the Strip and its people?
It's not actually a thing against the establishment. It's not that at all, you know, because a lot of those kids down there I found out are part of the establishment, you know. It's nothing but, you know, a lot of them are lazy down there. A lot of them are groovy, you know, but the groovy ones don't preach as hard as the lazy ones do. And so therefore it's a big mess. But cleaning it up, running kids away from that is not going to help anything, you know. Because police, the more you send police anywhere, the more trouble you're going to have. Because some people haven't reached the point of thinking as a word. Retaliation is not the right, you know, move, especially in aggression. People don't realize that music has so much to do with what's happening today, you know. And you're not going to stop the music. You might as well just let it stay there and depend on the music to straighten it out. And then give the music some kind of respect as to where it can do these things, you know. If they want to know the truth about it, the best thing to do is listen to the music. Even some color people look at my music and say, is that white or black? I said, what do you want to, you know, what are you trying to dissect that for? Try to go by the feeling of it. All those are things that we have to wipe away from the face of the earth before it can live in harmony. Do you realize they have a laser beam that you can put in satellites that'll circle the world and it'll stop from any rockets in the whole world being let off in anywhere in the world? But no, they don't want to hear about these new ideas. They want to hear about the old ones, like spend up all this money and getting a big missile system, you know.
They also say that of all the money, if they took the money that they spent on defense for 2 years and put it in medicine, medical research, that they could cure every possible known disease to man.
Well, how come they don't do those things? They choke their own selves. They get so greedy with money that they don't want to give it up, you know.
Yeah.
That's silly. That's just nothing but a drug, just like anything else. Matter of fact, it's one of the worst drugs. The soul's block-minded. That's all part of the evolution. See, evolution of the man is changing the brain. So quite naturally, you're going to have hang-ups here and there of thought, But still, the whole past is going towards a higher way of thinking, towards a clearer way of thinking. But there are still some hardheads, just like you're talking about, that think this way because they don't give their cells a chance to develop in the brain, or let the souls develop, or the emotions,